These financial modelling mistakes could be costing you millions. Are you making them? Most real estate models have a lot of moving pieces. They have multiple calculations and tabs all referencing each other. And if there's just a tiny mistake in just one of the calculations, this could lead to big errors down the line. Now, it's important to remember that even experienced analysts make mistakes. And that's why we always recommend getting your model audited by a third party before you commit to any decisions. That's why in our smart modelling method, the A stands for audit. Whenever you build a new cash flow, before you present your numbers to the investment committee, and particularly before you sign on the bottom line, always make sure you get another person to check your model. So here are the 3 mistakes. Number 1, using overcomplicated formulas. Making formulas too long and using really fancy functions can lead to errors and makes it really difficult for other users to understand what's going on. Break your formulas down into smaller chunks, calculating one step at a time. For example, if you're calculating your net operating income, calculate the potential rent, then the void, then the rent-free, and then the operating expenses. Then you can add them together to get your NOI. The added benefit of this is that it also means that you can calculate other metrics off these figures, like economic vacancy or add a rent guarantee into your exit price. Number 2, using hard codes in formulas. When I first started my job, I took over a model from another analyst for a property we owned. We did a handover and I cracked on with the work. About 3 months later, I found a hard code that meant the final returns were out by over £1 million in the wrong direction. Since then, I've never used a hard code in a formula, and I always teach my students to avoid doing it. Use flexible linked formulas, and if you need to add hard codes, either mark that cell out really clearly, or, and this is my preferred method, add a new line or section specifically for adding hard codes. Number 3, modelling on an annual basis. This is something that valuers do a lot, and I do get why. Discounted cash flows are complex, and the more detail you add, the more complicated they get. But annual cash flows are pretty meaningless. Rents are paid quarterly, expenses are paid monthly, and by summarising everything into an annual cash flow, it inevitably means you end up ignoring key things like lease events like voids and rent-frees and a whole bunch of other stuff that comes along with it. Not only does it mean that you won't be able to manage your cash and predict your equity requirement properly, but also that your internal rate of return, or IRR, will be wrong. At the end of the day, there's no right or wrong way to build a model, but avoiding these mistakes will make your model more accurate and easier for both yourself and other people to use. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you next time.